Nvidia's antitrust pressure is escalating. According to Bloomberg, the AI heavyweight has received several subpoenas from the Department of Justice as part of an ongoing investigation into Nvidia's dominance in the AI space. With us to discuss, we've got Bill Baer, who is the former Assistant Attorney General of the DOJ's Antitrust Division and current visiting fellow at the Brookings Institution. Great to have you here with us today. So from what you've read through here on Nvidia and the subpoena that's come forward, does it have weight? Does it carry weight into what the allegations are and how Nvidia has essentially kind of entrenched itself or given itself a moat in an ever-changing AI landscape that really derives from some of the chips at the bottom end where Nvidia deals and dabbles?
Well, thanks for having me back. It's good to be with the two of you again. We don't know a lot about what the Justice Department is doing here. We understand there have been subpoenas that have come out. We understand there's some concern that NVIDIA may be trying to force purchasers of its processors, AI processors, chips, to be exclusive, let NVIDIA be its exclusive supplier, and charging higher prices for those customers who are sourcing chips from multiple companies. That could be an antitrust problem. But it's really important to note the subpoena is an early stage event in an antitrust inquiry. There's going to be a lot of time for the government and NVIDIA to negotiate what's going to be complied, both in terms of documents and data. A lot of time for the Justice Department to analyze it. And then if they want to keep going, they're going to subpoena deposition testimony from company officials, from competitors, from customers who may feel aggrieved. So we've got a long way to go. This is not a matter of weeks, it's months.
Well, and it's interesting because we spoke with Patrick Moorhead earlier about the potential timeline. He's an analyst who looks at some of the chip stocks. Let's take a listen to what he had to say about the path forward here.
I think investors know, particularly institutional investors, that any type of Department of Justice ruling, I mean, my gosh, this takes a decade. What NVIDIA can be doing is to continue to have the highest performance computing in the data center to solve the problems of the hyperscalers and the enterprises and the tier 2 CSPs.
In your experience, Bill, does a probe like this, which according to Patrick could take up to a decade, prevent companies from exploring any future growth opportunities? And could that potentially weigh on a company like NVIDIA moving forward? Or will this sort of be business as usual with the DOJ and NVIDIA?
I think most companies would continue to pursue the practices they think that are profit maximizing. I do think it's a bit of hyperbole to suggest it's going to take a decade. At the same time, one of the things the Federal Trade Commission and the Antitrust Division are trying to do is get ahead of the curve, figure out where a market may be trending toward a monopoly, and intervene earlier. They're certainly trying to do that in the AI space.
And so for the Department of Justice and other regulatory bodies that are trying to both at the same time wrap their heads around a new technology wave that they're seeing and then understand how to apply any type of the legal constructs that already exist here, you know, how much of a learning curve do you think there's still going to be around such an innovative part of the broader tech sector right now?
Well, I think the government's gotten pretty sophisticated about antitrust analysis of the tech sector. Look at the Google case, Google search engine case, which DOJ recently won. We're about to have a trial on Google ad tech. So the government has gotten more knowledgeable, more sophisticated, and I think moving more quickly than maybe 15 or 20 years ago.
I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about U.S. Steel briefly before we let you go. We know, for example, that the company and the CEO spoke with the Wall Street Journal this morning, saying that if the deal with Nippon fails, U.S. Steel could be in danger of having to close plants. That would, of course, potentially involve layoffs. I'm just curious what this indicates to you moving forward about the potential of the U.S. government blocking any of these foreign deal-making opportunities from happening. How likely is that in your point of view moving forward, and what are the potential ramifications of that?
Well, it's too early to tell. This is an inquiry that has been going on. It's done non-publicly, and trying to assess through this mechanism, this committee called CFIUS, the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, is taking a look at the national security, the economic ramifications of Nippon buying U.S. Steel. And I'm sure they're looking at the ramifications if Nippon is not allowed to buy U.S. Steel. This is a healthy process. It runs in parallel with antitrust review. If it's not Nippon, who else is out there that potentially would be a suitable buyer for U.S. Steel? So we've got a long way to go on this, and I realize it's very important to the workers and to the companies and to the potential Japanese investor.
All right, Bill Baer, thank you so much for joining us, and really appreciate your insights on all things DOJ and NVIDIA here. Thanks so much. That was Bill Baer of the Brookings Institution.